everyone, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners all around the world, North Carolina, Georgia, wherever you might be listening from. This is Winning the Division, episode number 29. I am your co-host, Ryan Smith, alongside my co-host in crime, former NFL tight end, Ben Troupe. Ben, it's 29 episodes in, buddy. It's good to have you alongside me once again as the NFL Combine has come and gone, and we are in the 2024 offseason. So, Ben, let's just take it from the top with the Combine before we get in some of the fan mail questions that we got as promised from last week. Thoughts on the Combine, your overall takeaways, and expectations as we near the NFL draft come April?
I was very, very impressed with the amount of players that participated. So much was made about Cam Moore not participating, Shadur Sanders not participating. Obviously, Abdul Carter, you realize he had to get surgery before, the combine. To go ahead and kind of get that, because, his place is solidified, 6'3", 250 pounds, the premier pass rusher. I was very, very impressed with certain groups. Like that running back group, they showed up and show out. They really, really did. Obviously, you talk about guys like Tredavion Henderson and his partner in crime, Quinshon Judkins. You see why they won the national championship. You got two guys in the backfield, both at 4'4". What's the young man name from South Carolina? I'm gonna butcher his name. The 6'3" safety.
Nick Emenwari.
Nick Emenwari, this is what he said. He says, "This is my combine. Y'all just here to witness a freak, a mutant. 6'3", 220, ran a 4'3", jumped like a 43.5. To me, players like that are what the combine is for. Nothing against the other players. Yep. But when you got a mutant like that, I knew they were going to compare him to Derwin James. And Derwin James was actually chiming in saying, yes, sir. The D-line, they did their thing. I was just impressed by the competitive nature of these players because I knew back when I came out, I knew that I didn't do anything at the combine. Like my agent told me, he said, if you don't do anything, Kellen Winslow won't do anything. I didn't do anything. Kellen Winslow didn't do anything. Unfortunately, we had a freaking nature known as Benjamin Watson, tight end out of the University of Georgia. And to just put into context how freakishly athletic he was, he did 35 reps on the bench and he racked it. Like he did 33, 34, 35, and he racked it. He got a 49 on the Wonderlic to show you how smart he is. He got a 49 on the Wonderlic, and when asked why did he get a 50, he said, because I didn't have time to do the 50th question. So I only did 49 questions, and it was time to put our pencils down. So, but the quarterbacks didn't really show me people talking about Jackson Dart. And the thing about Jackson Dart is, go back to what Mr. Vogel said. I don't know if his style of offense, you kind of know what you're getting with him. Highly productive in college now, highly productive. But will put the ball in harm's way sometimes, not a lot. I think the linebackers look good. I think the outside pass rushes, look good. But overall, my take is they put on a show. To have it used to be a time 4-4 or 4-3 was rare, which it still is. And the wide receivers, they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Wait a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They had 9 guys, really 10, because Matthew Golden ran a 4.29. They had 10 guys break 4.3 or better. Like that's, and you talk about Matthew Golden, you talking about Dante Thornton Jr. out of Tennessee, DK out of Florida, Jalen Lane out of Virginia Tech, Arian Smith out of UGA, Ty Felton out of Maryland, Keandre Lambert-Smith out of Auburn, Jordan Watkins out of Ole Miss, Isaiah Bond out of Texas, and Jalen Noel out of Iowa State. These guys, like I said, when you start asking why, now talking about, and running backs, we had, Jaden Blue, who was the second fastest out of Texas. But I'm just impressed with how them guys came in saying, look, because you always get a do-over at your pro day. People go, why work out at the combine? Because if I want to improve my numbers or something I didn't do, I can go to my pro day. But athleticism galore, and Hey, man, shout out to those skill positions. I mean, the O-line looked good. The D-line looked good. The quarterbacks, to me, were the most lackluster bunch, and I don't know what's going on with Jalen Milroe's hand size. I heard he got real small hands.
Yeah.
I've never been a fan of that stuff, but what they'll do is now they'll correlate that. Because obviously, for those who don't know, the combine is a way to invalidate you. As much as you want to be validated when you come there, they're trying to find ways to invalidate you because, a second faster, a second slower, a better throw here, a better show of athleticism there could be the difference in going, bottom of the first round, the top of the third round. But I think that as far as like if you're looking for a running back, if you're looking for a receiver, if you're looking for a DB, if you're looking for a safety or a linebacker, you have plenty. So yeah, I was really, really impressed though. It's almost like Shadur and Cam Ward didn't work out. Travis Hunter didn't work out. Ashton Jeanty didn't work out. The kid out of Arizona State, he didn't. I mean, Arizona, the receiver out of Arizona didn't work out, and it didn't matter. Like they weren't even really talking about him that much. So that just shows you how many guys came to show up, show out, and I was impressed. And to those people that say things like, "Oh, he only ran a," no. I don't think we understand how fast 4.5 is, let alone 4.4 and 4.3. So you're talking about 4.6 and 4.7s. These are big men moving out there, 250 pounds plus. And so when you say I thought he was going to be faster than that. I tell you what, you go out there next to him, and you take off when he take off, and watch how it looked like y'all started in two different times. Rich Eisen kind of give you a glimpse.
Yeah.
How fast regular everyday working people are, even though he got a suit on. And I didn't see the Rich run. I don't know what he ran this year in 2025. I did not see
He actually doesn't do that anymore, the combine. He does it at the off season now. He does it.
I'm sorry, he had graduated. So Rich.
He does it in the summer at the Rose Bowl.
Really?
During the summer now is what he
does.
So,
and shout out to Rich Eisen and Daniel Jeremiah. That's a lot of talking over like 3 days, and the knowledge of these players and different things. So shout out to the fact that you got to talk that long and can't nobody see you, and all we hear is, "Oh, we got this guy right here. Oh, we got this guy right here. Oh, this guy right here. Oh my God, this guy." Great commentary. It takes two special people. It's going to be Rich paired with somebody. But
correct.
Hey, it was really, really good stuff. Really, really good stuff.
Well, before I go into my takeaways, I just wanted to let our listeners know if you are enjoying this podcast and you're enjoying the previous material that we've got here on Winning the Division, listen, for the latest in both the Carolina Panthers and the NFL news, you can subscribe to the Keep Pounding Podcast Network, powered by the Fans First Sports Network, because here on the Keep Pounding Podcast Network, we bring you the latest news, analysis, interviews from top players, announcers, studio leads, and more. Remember, rate and subscribe at your favorite podcast platform or subscribe to the video channel, youtube.com/@Tobacco Road Sports Radio. So, Ben, let me get into my kind of takeaways from the combine here. You mentioned Quinshon Judkins from Ohio State. I thought he was a really good one. Trevor Etienne, your Florida guy. We talked about him a little bit before.
Shout out Montreal Johnson, who ran a 4.41, and Trevor Etienne ran a 4.42. Once a Gator, always a Gator, but he did go over there with them Georgia boys. But shout out to them Florida boys / Georgia boys.
But how about Bashal Tutin from Virginia Tech, 4.32 seconds, 40.5-inch vertical, 10'10" broad jump. He was explosive. While the drills weren't perfect, though, he's a running back that's going to go higher in this draft, and I certainly thought he would. Came out and just did it out of nowhere. And I'll just kind of go a couple of notables from each position. Quarterback, how about Brady Cook from Missouri? I mean, he showed out there. I can see him being a late day 3 pick. Some team
4.59 in the 40.
Developmental quarterback for some team out there coming forward. On the wide receiver position, I had a few guys in mind. You actually mentioned one of the guys, Mr. Shamir DK from the University of Florida.
I didn't know he was that fast. I did not know DK was that fast.
Yeah, I mean, 10'8" broad jump, red hot pass during deep that he caught on the deep ball during the drill. I mean, Guy was all over the place for Florida this year. You mentioned Jalen Well, Jaden Higgins. Jimmy Horn from Colorado is another one that I think could go in the later rounds. Not as flashy as Travis Hunter, but very consistent and moves the chain.
4.46 ain't bad. That ain't a bad 40 for old Jimmy Horn Jr.
Yep. My tight end, we already talked about him before the show. Mason Taylor, son of Jason Taylor, the defensive end for the Miami Dolphins. I like Mason Taylor a lot, even though I am a Florida fan like yourself. Even though he's an LSU guy, but
he looked. What they do in the gauntlet, they trying to see how straight of that. Like they want you to catch him, but they want you to stay straight on that line. He was about as straight. He didn't veer anymore. I mean, hey man, he's a Taylor. He is in his bloodline. So I mean, now we get to see the Taylors on offense. Don't necessarily like the school he went to. I can respect him, but if he ends up a Panther or a Falcon, I mean, I think you got a nice pass catcher there.
Offensive lineman Jared Wilson Jr. Just Jared Wilson from Georgia, the center. I could see him being a future Carolina Panther. I mean, that boy, 32-inch vert, 9'4" broad jump, 6'3", 310 pounds, top center in this class. I believe so. Jared Wilson from Georgia. And then switching over to the defensive side of the ball really quickly to finish this out. James Pierce Jr., Charlotte boy, had himself a combine. The Carolina Panthers would be dumb not to be all over this guy, considering he's a homegrown product, but not just him.
4.47? 4.47?
Yeah. Jeez. Not just him, but your Falcons and some other teams as well, all over him. Jihad Campbell from Alabama. We heard John Vogel say that. Our draft analyst who came on the other week talk about Jihad Campbell. Bill Sparks a few weeks back also mentioned Jihad Campbell. And then in the secondary, a couple of just notable names. Malachi Starks, as we know, from Georgia. We already talked about Nick Morniori. How about Jalen Reed from Penn State? He in the secondary back there doing his thing.
4.49?
Yeah, another 4.49 guy. And then corner – I'm not sure that I knew a lot about this guy. Maxwell Hairston from Kentucky showed out at the combine. Someone that, hey, Trevin Wallace, Kentucky linebacker on the Carolina Panthers this year. Just saying, he played pretty well for a rookie. I didn't know a lot about him coming out of Kentucky, but Kentucky can produce some ball players. Randall Cobb.
Jade Barron from Texas, 4.39. I mean, he was picking them up and putting them down. I mean, I'm just saying these guys. I mean, it's so many gems because you go in thinking about a certain player, then another player flashes. You're thinking about this player, another player flashes. I mean, the draft is built in the latter rounds. I know everybody wants to be a top, a top 60, a top 64, or a top, 96 pick. You want to go in the top 3 rounds, but some of the best players go in rounds 4 through 7. So never ever look past the fact. Look, in my draft in 2004, Wes Welker went undrafted. Wes Welker, I'm gonna say this, the best. I don't want to call it because greatest means you won Super Bowls, but the best slot receiver in NFL history. He only played in the slot. He has almost 1,000 catches. Two-time first team All-Pro, like a four-time Pro Bowler. He went undrafted in 2004. And Jared Allen was like a 4th, 5th round pick. He just, got inducted to the Hall of Fame. So what do we know?
What do we know? Exactly. Ben, before we move on from the combine, because again, these are guys running in shorts and underwear, if you will. The medical. I'd be remiss if I didn't. Did you get to go to the combine yourself, sir, or did you?
Yes, I did. Yes.
Okay. Yes. So for those who just may not, I'm going to share a story that I heard on one of my podcasts that I listened to, and actually a friend that I know pretty well. So EJ Manuel, former Florida State quarterback.
Yes.
He's not the friend I'm referring to, but he was the guest on this podcast. He talked about how, and Ben, you can back this up, being a former player. He talked about how, he goes into the combine and he's thinking like, all right, I'm getting ready for some football. What are they going to have me do? And he's like, I get there and I spend the first amount of time in the hospital because they are just torching you, if you will, with tests, and they want to know every little detail about your past injuries and just your medical history. So for those who think it's just football and sunshines and rainbows and interviews with clubs behind closed doors, that's not quite it. You've got a lot of medical that you have to do before you even set foot on the field. So talk to the listeners, just having been at the combine yourself, kind of a day in the life of what the combine was like for these prospects.
Well, NFL Network, I think, started going to the combine in 2003, and I got drafted in 2004. So that was their second year. They're still trying to get a lot of the kinks out, and just like EJ, it's your mind is in such a tailspin because you don't know what to expect. And the thing about it is, when you first get off the plane, you're on a plane. I was on the plane with a bunch of tight ends, a bunch of future tight ends in the league, because we all met up. Our what'd you call it? Your second flight? What they call those flights?
Connecting flight.
Connecting flight. My connecting flight was in Atlanta. So when you get out the plane and you have a driver, they take you over to the hotel. I think I was rooming with a tight end from Michigan State. And the first thing they do, they put you on this machine, this leg machine, and they want you, they want you pumping your leg. And at first, it's really, really easy to do it. Then the resistance gets really, really crazy. They got these lines, right? It's like 10 lines. All 10 lines got to be real close together. If 9 lines are close together and 1 line is not, they know you got bad knees. Guess what? That could keep you from getting drafted. And if you were going to go high, you're going to go low. Then you walk in, Mr. Casserly, he was in there talking to us. This is what he said, because the reality hits you real quick. You walk in this room, it's like a bunch of tight ends in there. I think it's a bunch of like old linemen. It's a room full of people. He said, to those of you who think you're going to go from the 4th round to the 2nd round or the 7th round to the 1st round, it's not going to happen. He says all 32 teams already have their big board already up. They already got a draft grade on you. This is more of a meet and greet, a face-to-face. We kind of get to see how you look without pads on. How do you sell yourself? How do you interview? How do you answer questions? What type of demeanor do you have? What type of behaviorism do you have? What type of personality do you have? And you start realizing this is going to either be really, 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 really good or it's going to suck, because from the time you get there, you're doing something. I mean, I remember I had something with my ankle. I was over there at the medical people. I had to go up and get like a MRI. I mean, the MRI on my ankle. I was there like all freaking day. That's when they was running and like doing their bench press and all that. I missed all that stuff. Then it's a part, the 2 parts that are the weirdest outside of the Wonderlic. The Wonderlic is weird.
Which now is the S2 test?
Yeah. Just another name for it. Just the 2 things that are the weirdest. You walk into this room and they say strip down to like just your boxer briefs. Hopefully you decided to wear underwear that day, because that would be awkward. So they tell you to strip down. Now you imagine you got all these tight ends. We all up against this wall, and it's really, 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 we all like sitting close together in alphabetical order. And you hear Watson, Troupe, Winslow, and so on and so forth, right? Chris Wilson out of Pitt. You go on this stage, and it's a light on the stage shining on you, just a little light shining on you.
Yeah.
They get your hand size, they get your arm length, they tell you to turn around, and all you can see in the darkness is faces. You can hear voices, and you just see their face. You can kind of see, like, there go Herm Edwards, and there go Bill Belichick, and there go Jeff Fisher. You know what I'm saying? There go Mike. It was weird. And they stretch your arms and get in your hands. Then that's the first weird part. The second weird part is, just imagine you walk into these rooms and all 32 teams trainers are in these different rooms.
Yeah.
So you sit on the table, they pulling at your hand, they pulling you. It's like one set of trainers on this side of your body, the other set of trainers on that side of your body. They pulling all at your feet, and you like, does this hurt? They're like this. Open up your mouth, look at us. You're like, what? And you have to go in rooms to do that. They're trying to see if it's something wrong with you. And then you have to do the interviews, which, are weird because, everybody got there. I mean, I walked in there with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. No last minute.
There are the questions that people say they get asked at some of these teams.
Well, no. Forget the questions, though. Just imagine this. I walk in there with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Right? Their tight ends coach. This is no lie. There was a dresser, like a dresser in a bedroom, with a drawer, and then the whole thing is Doritos from the top all the way to the bottom. He's reaching in a drawer, pulling out Doritos, eating them, saying like this, "You want some?" What the? No. You know what I'm saying? And then Mike Tice was the head coach of the Minnesota Vikings. I remember this. He kept asking me what my weaknesses were. And I was like, I said, well, coach, I don't really have a lot of weaknesses. I say, and he was like, this is what he said. He said, oh, so you're one of those really, really good. He said, you're one of those smart guys that understand how to interview, right? Oh, he's giving me the politically correct answer. I said, let me get this straight. You're pissed off at me because I don't want to tell you what my weaknesses are. I'm sorry. I'm not here to talk about my weak. Not everybody got it. So he said, what part of your game you need to work on? I need to work on all part of my game. Run it, run blocking, pass blocking. He was like, and when I went in with the Cleveland Browns, they had like a therapist, like a shrink in there. Like he walks up to me, asks me all these dumb questions. He like, well, Ben, would you be a speedboat or a sailboat? I would own both of them. I wouldn't be either. Okay. He said, would you rather be a Pro Bowler? What did he say? Would you rather be a Pro Bowler on a bad team, or would you rather be an okay player on a team that made the playoffs? I said, I would rather be a Pro Bowler on a team that made the playoffs. I'm like, what kind of? And what you really want to say is, you're the Cleveland Browns, right? Like, like Minnesota back then was not the Minnesota that we just saw in Garland. So, but I was respectful. And the crazy part about it is I did all these 15-minute interviews. The one team I did not interview with was the Titans, and that's who drafted me. I ain't even have it's almost like.
Funny how that works out. There's a lot of those that happen.
Because here's the thing, Smitty. Sometimes it's a lot of poker going on at the combine. It's a lot of smoke and mirrors going on, but no one wants to show their cards, especially like now. Well, now it's so much access now. It's so much cameras, interviews. So, when I hear Shadur Sanders say things like, I went to Jackson State and I changed the culture there. I went to Colorado and I changed the culture there. You don't think I could go to an NFL team and change the culture? Like, that's how you answer. Like, look, man, y'all seen what I did at Jackson State. Y'all seen what I did at Colorado. Yes, I had Travis Hunter the whole time. But the thing about it is a lot of these players, they feel pressure to do something. Like, I didn't work out. I didn't do no running. I didn't do no lift. I did the Travis Hunter. I did the Cam White. I did the Shadur Sanders. I started doing interviews. And that big room, as they call it, when you're talking to all the cameras, I mean, just imagine as many cameras as you ever seen times like 30. It is cameras. Now, when I was there, the cameras would look closer to your face. But I learned when I was in New Orleans, when someone's asked you a question, even if it's in a room, try to make eye contact with that person. Because a lot of these reporters the big reporters, they're going to get closer to the front. Well, just say I'm reporting from, the Charlotte Observer. I'm going to make sure I try to say, because sometimes, man, you just run out of answers. Like, literally, like, you like, hey, man, what's your favorite color? I don't know. I mean, one person it'll be blue, another person it'll be green, another person it'll be black, another person will be white. Because it's like at a certain, but when I tell you after like a day and a half, you are ready to get the hell out of there, because it's draining. Because now, you got exos, so you got all these different places you train at. Your trainers and stuff, they'll show up there. You working on your 40 time, and I'm like, look, man. At a certain point, you want to yell out, "I can play football! Like, I can play!" Like, I'm not, but the one thing I took from it, the greatest thing was I came in trying to get my best interviews, trying to put my best foot forward. I walked out of there, man, rooting for a lot of these other players, because we all there to do the same thing, man. Like, everybody's there to try to make the best possible impression you can. Because Kellen Winslow Jr., man, he was getting kicked out of rooms and get out of here. He still went 6th overall. You know what I'm saying? So so when you think that, I'm there with Sean Taylor and Kellen Winslow and Ben Roethlisberger and Eli Manning and Phillip Rivers, Larry Fitzgerald. We had some players there, man. We had some players there, and I just thank God that I was blessed. Now, when you get off the plane in Indy, there are people there waiting on you to walk outside the airport. There was this guy. He comes, he's like, "What's up, man?" Because they know the schedule and when we getting off the plane and stuff. It's a guy. Remember, I'm going to show my age. Trapper Keepers. Like all the. He might have had. This is no lie. He opens up this folder. This thing is like this thick. And I'm thinking, he said, "Hey Ben, just sign as many as you want." So I'm thinking, okay, I'll sign like 3 or 4 pages, Smitty. And I started doing this. What the page at the page? So when I get this, listen. So when I said, all right, man, I signed a bunch of them, right? Just trying to be courteous. I'm not trying to be no jerk. He started pulling out pictures, like, 8x10s. And he got another one. This is how he gets you to sign. This is what he said. He said, look, as many as you sign, you can get as many as you want. What you mean? Like, I might have signed, I don't know, 100. He was ready to give me 100 pictures. I don't know. But it's just a cool feeling because of both of these players, we only saw each other on TV because we don't play against each other. So if you play, right. If you're in the Southeastern Conference or the ACC, I know of you, but to meet a bunch of these players, man, and to tell them, man, I really, really like your game. And it was dope, man. It was dope to really be there, to the combine let you know, ultimately, the combine is the last recruiting trip as a collective, as a lot of players together. That's the last time you realize if you was a big time player or not, because the attention that you got, it was nuts, man. That's back when Reebok had cleats and Reebok was making the jerseys. See how far we've come, Reebok. Yeah, they still make them. You see what I'm saying? But it was the best, weirdest, greatest, most anxiety-filled 3 days. When I got back on the plane, this is how crazy it was. I don't even remember flying back from Indy to Atlanta, and I think I might have flew from Gainesville or New Orleans. I think I was still in New Orleans. I don't even remember, man. It was a blur. But it's the biggest. Once it's over, it's a relief because right after I was getting ready to go to the Senior Bowl. No, it was before, and I dislocated my finger, and I don't know if it was Jim Nagy at the time, but somebody called me and said, "Hey Ben, don't come. If you're not 100%, don't come here, because we don't want you to, put yourself at a disadvantage." But it was I just thank God I was able to go because right after the bowl game my senior year, we was in Tampa. We just lost to Iowa in the Outback Bowl. And their offensive tackle, Robert Gallery, he went third overall. He went like third overall or something crazy, like third overall. And but it was a unique experience. I was happy to meet a lot of the coaches, a lot of the players. But when it was time to go, wasn't no autographs. Wasn't, "Hey Ben, let's get on the shuttle. Let's get back home." So yeah.
Awesome. That was I think a good insight for our listeners, just kind of see, what the combine is really like. It's one thing to watch it on TV. It's another thing to experience in person like you did, and being kind of part of the show, if you will. Well, I was going to go to the questions next, but let's go instead to the latest news and headlines around the league. And we'll get to the questions a little bit later on in the show, because a lot happened today around the league. And yes, it's the offseason. Yes, it's combine, but the NFL, I like to say, is a news cycle that never stops. It never sleeps. Like, there is so many things that can catch your attention on any given day. So Ben, let's start with T. Higgins. He got franchised by the Bengals for the second year in a row. T. Higgins, it sounds like they're open to keeping him. Jamar Chase, we know, is going to record set deal. And then you got Trey Hendrickson and Mike Gesicki as well. So, thoughts on T. Higgins getting tagged by the Bengals, and do you think they can keep all 4 players under their cap?
I think they're trying to make an attempt. I think the thing about the T. Higgins situation is, while you want to keep T. Higgins on a multi-year deal, it's going to be hard to do for 2 reasons. It's going to be hard to have 2, $40 million a year receivers, right? T. Higgins gets injured a lot more than Jamar Chase does. So that's and if we've had you your whole career, we know your injury history. Jamar Chase, look out. I mean, you talk about resetting the market. I mean, he's coming off the Triple Crown. And I know we're gonna get to Deebo Samuel, but I remember when Deebo Samuel was coming off the first team All-Pro, he still ain't have numbers Jamar Chase led the league in catches, yards, and touchdowns. And with the touchdowns, I don't even think it was close. I appreciate this about Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow makes a lot of money off the field. You know how I know? Because he said, look, whatever you guys got to do to get us all back. Because Joe Burrow understands. Joe Burrow sees what's going on in Philly. He sees what's going on in Kansas City. He sees what's going on in Detroit. He sees what's going on in Baltimore. And he understands that, look, if I don't got my guys, Joe Milton, Joe Mixon, he's down there with freaking, the Texans, right now, putting up numbers. So I think that they're going to do all they can. T. Higgins, and I know he was in the Carolinas. He was in a lot of people's sweepstakes. If I'm being honest, T. Higgins, and I could be wrong, but this is when I hear franchise. You know what I really hear? I don't think they think that T. Higgins could be a number one without Jamar. I think they say, look, you're a really, really good player, but that guy, that number one on the other side, that dude is different. Not saying T. Higgins isn't a solid 1B. He's not 1A now. He's good. So I think that's another reason why they'll say, look, man, we're going to try to get along. We go ahead and franchise them because they can only franchise one guy. We franchise T because we don't want nobody else to have access. Because if we let T. Higgins hit the market, he's gone. He's out of there. Somebody's going to snatch him. And plus, we don't want T. Higgins testing the market to see how much money he can really get. Because he's going to demand $30 million. Easy. Mm-hmm. So I can appreciate what the Bengals are trying to do. It's going to be extremely difficult because Jamar Chase not taking no discounts.
Nope.
He said, Jamar's like, listen, that's Joe. Joe said I ain't taking no discount. That's Joe. But I will see what happens because it is still early in free agency. It is still early as far as like teams are trying to play chess right now. But I like the fact that the Bengals are told, and I'm pretty sure they called T. Higgins in and said, look, man, we're going to franchise you again. I know it's not what you want to hear because people go, well, do he got a fully guaranteed contract? Yeah, but it's 1 year. What he got in 1 year, he probably could have gotten a signing bonus. But you have split. If I draft a player, we got him for at least 5 years. And to get franchised back to back, that is for two reasons. And the two reasons are Jamar Chase. If they get Jamar Chase done in 2024, we're not talking about this right now. But Jamar Chase is gonna make them pay like Dak Prescott made Dallas pay. You letting CeeDee Lamb and AJ Brown, all these players get paid around me. Well, ain't none of those players better than me. Justin Jefferson, he right there. But I want to say that Jamar Chase got more touchdown catches than him, and Jamar Chase is a year behind him as far as like NFL. So it's going to be interesting to see, Smitty, because I think the thing about these GMs, I think they're hamstrung because when your quarterback pans out and you got to give him the big dollars, and then you got a top 5 pick like Jamar Chase who's doing what he's doing, then you got and Trey Hendrickson, look, they want Trey Hendrickson, but I think the conversation is different because, yes, he led the league in sacks. Is that who he is, or is that what he showed last year?
Right. Yeah, I hear you.
This Myles Garrett, no, make no mistake about it now. I led the league in sacks, 17.5. So that's got to be worth something. But I just think that they got to be careful because defense, you don't want to Brian Burns yourself. You don't want to give him so much money. Like, dude, because listen, you got to think about the future in the present when you're giving out deals. Because you hear the word restructure, that means, hey, dude, this dude got a lot of money coming up on the cap. Now, Trey Hendrickson, look, very, very good football player. He led the league in sacks. I don't think but did he get Defensive Player of the Year? No. That went to Patrick Surtain.
Right.
Is he a better player than Myles Garrett? No. And that's nothing against him. So,
right.
But I think Trey Hendrickson gonna have to be willing to take a little less because Jamar Chase is about to break 2 banks, but we'll see what happens.
All right. I'm going to give you a bunch of these in kind of snippets because I know they're not quite as big as T. Higgins, and a couple more that I'm going to say in just a second. That way we can kind of go through these all at one time. Eagles cut 6-time Pro Bowl corner Darius Slay. Sean McVay announces that he never thought Stafford wouldn't return. And then the Green Bay Packers re-sign linebacker. I'm blanking on his name here. There we go. Isaiah McDuffie. I want to make sure I got that right. To a 2-year deal.
I feel bad for Darius Slay because a lot. Everybody kept the reason why I kind of had a feeling Darius Slay was going to get cut because after the season they were talking about how Nick Sirianni was saying we're going to give you 1 more year, and once your playing career is over, we're going to have a coaching position for you. You don't say that kind of stuff to players. Like, what the hell you mean you're going? How you know I want to coach? What do you mean you got a coaching position for me? Sean McVay. It's so easy to say that because he re-signed. I never thought he did. Yes, you did because he was testing free. What are you talking? No, you weren't getting the trade offers you thought you were going to get. Say that because they was talking to teams trying to get trade offers. Well, you know what teams were saying? We understand that you won a Super Bowl with him. But listen, who was the Super Bowl MVP? Cooper Kupp. Who y'all shopping right now? Cooper Kupp. Who else you had on that team when you won Super Bowl? Oh, what's his name? Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, right? You also had Odell Beckham Jr., who probably is going to get MVP of the Super Bowl if he don't get hurt. Now, Puka is good. And Cooper's going to be out of there. I know you got Tutu Atwell and DeMarcus Robinson. I think the thing about Sean McVay and either Matthew Stafford said, look, this is probably my last contract. I'd rather be with a coach and an offense that's suitable to what I want to do. I'm not no spring chicken, man. I think I'm in year like 16, 17. I don't have, Tom Brady, over 20-something years left in me. Because what happens is, Smitty, you don't want to play so long that your skills start diminishing. Remember Peyton Manning when he couldn't throw a ball 10 yards?
Don't remind me. Super Bowl 50. Don't remind me on that one. Yes.
So, but he also had a defense that was out of this freaking world. Led by the second pick in the same draft as Cam Newton, Von Miller. But I'm saying I'm happy for Matthew Stafford because he get to finish his career with the same team that he won a Super Bowl with a coach that has a memory has probably the greatest memory of a coach I ever seen. They say this dude remember plays and situations like that. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, but congratulations to Matthew Stafford. It's hard to make it. It's hard to have longevity in the National Football League, let alone be super productive. And dare I say that, they won that division this year. Now, San Francisco, they are working on Brock Purdy's deal as we speak.
Yep.
Good luck with that. You still got Seattle and Arizona. May God bless, Kyler Murray, because I just don't know what Arizona going to do. But shout out to Matthew Stafford and the McDuffie situation. Yeah, congrats, hey, re-signing with the Green Bay Packers. They're trying to bring back guys that understand that defense, and they, Jordan Love and company going into the second year of his big deal. If he can stay healthy in 2025, dare I say, man, they might threaten Detroit. Because I think this year with Minnesota, they might come back down to earth because Justin Jefferson said in the interview, he doesn't care who the quarterback is. Basically, he's saying as long as I get my numbers, I don't care who's throwing it to.
The 49ers trade Deebo Samuel, wide receiver, for a 5th-round pick to the Washington Commanders. Giants, after losing out on Matthew Stafford, are considering signing Aaron Rodgers. And the Cowboys are going to tag defensive end Osa Idiguiusa if no deal by the trade or by the franchise tag deadline.
Deebo Samuel's got what he wanted. He saw that his role and his impact on that offense and that team was dwindling. And, he did the right thing and said, look, I want to seek a trade. And he's doing it well before the draft. Like, no one wants to get close to the draft and get a trade because now it's a package deal. Hey, Jaden Daniels, he got him a sure slot receiver. He got him a guy in the slot that could definitely make money in between. I think his best years are behind him. Now he could go to Washington with a young quarterback like Jaden Daniels and get rejuvenated. Who knows? But we'll see. I don't know what type of offense is going to fit him, but he obviously, I mean, he obviously can fit well in an offense that has a quarterback that's that's an elite improviser. And we'll see how he fits. The Giants are just showing why they're becoming the laughing stock. Like, they're showing why. You know, it's like we're going to get Aaron Rodgers. Like, let me say this. I have nothing but respect for Aaron Rodgers. Right? Aaron Rodgers is the first ballot Hall of Famer, blase, whatever. Aaron Rodgers has been to one Super Bowl. It was against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he won. Right? He won. You know, with Greg Jennings and, you know, different guys. What I don't get is, what are the Giants not seeing that the rest of the NFL is? Like, Aaron Rodgers, and I mean this humbly, Aaron Rodgers wants to be famous more than he wants to be a football player, because he says things in the media like we got to all be bought in. We got to get rid of that losing mentality. He doesn't show up the minicamp. He ain't showing up the offseason. Right now, he did his best impression when he first got to the Jets, and they're doing Hard Knocks, and the voice of the Hard Knocks come and speak to him, and they go Method Man, and you know you're gonna have Joe Namath and all these fake Jets fans. All these people are not Jets fans; they're Aaron Rodgers fans. But guess what? Who else are the Giants gonna get? The guy you paid, right? It's not even on the team anymore. I think he's with Minnesota, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, it's the Giants. The Giants are proving that, look, man, we're not going to win anything anytime soon. Saquon just won a Super Duper Bowl. And, you know, the Dallas Cowboys, what's his name? Usa what?
Usa Uganwuni. It's hard to pronounce, but defensive end.
So basically, they're going to franchise him if he can't get a deal done. We wait to see one guy get his money, and that's Michael Parsons. Because you talk about resetting the market. Good Lord. I mean, if Jamar Chase is going to reset it for receivers, I don't want to know the only reason why Michael Parsons might not get what he's supposed to get is because Jerry Jones, man, like, I don't understand it. You know who never ever had to worry about their money when they was with the Dallas Cowboys? Not that it matters. I just had his name too. What's the quarterback? You know, he does commentary now.
Right, man.
No. The other one. The one that does it.
Tony Romo.
Tony Romo never had to. Tony Romo made a lot of money with Dallas. He was a good player. I just think with Dallas is. I don't want to call Dallas the laughing stock of the NFC East, but that's what they are, because they got an owner that's about as arrogant as it gets. I say arrogant from this standpoint. Dude, move out the way. Your way doesn't work. What else do you got to do? You haven't been to an NFC championship game since you went to a Super Bowl. The last time you were, even in the 90s, a lot of these players was born in the 90s. I don't, like I said, Dak is what, 30 now, 30, 31. I don't see Dallas making any noise anytime soon, Smitty, for this reason. If Cam Newton says that the front office in Carolina is going to have to change, something's going to have to change. And the first thing that needs to change is you need to get his pictures back up on the wall. You need to put him in the Ring of Honor. Y'all need to kiss and make up. If me and Smitty got to be the catalyst of doing that, we'll do it. If we got to do it. But Cam, you're going to have to come on win the division to do it so we can announce it to you. The Dallas Cowboys, as long as Jerry Jones is making the decisions, he's going to be the owner. As long as he's making the decisions, it's going to be much ado about nothing. I mean, because Michael Parsons, if they trade you, there's a team in Atlanta that can utilize your services, sir. Hopefully we got some money to spend. I don't know if we got that much, but we'll see.
Now let's get to the big news of the day. You can spend as long as you want on this because he deserves it. Hall of Famer Jimmy Johnson, player and coach, retiring from Fox's NFL coverage today. Super Bowl, 2 Super Bowls, a college national championship after coaching the Miami Hurricanes, the Dallas Cowboys, and the like. He announced this today on The Herd with Colin Cowherd. 81-year-old Jimmy Johnson retiring from Fox Sports NFL.
first and foremost, congratulations, Coach Jimmy Johnson. Still some of the best hair in football. You know, we just mentioned Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones' worst decision ever was getting rid of Jimmy Johnson, running him out of town. Why? We don't know. It doesn't make. He had Barry Switzer, then he goes from Barry Switzer to Jimmy Johnson, all this other type of stuff. Whatever. It just Jimmy Johnson has had 3 Hall of Fame careers. First was at the Miami Hurricanes. Then he goes to Dallas. Then he goes to broadcasting. Hall of Fame in all 3. College football Hall of Famer, NFL Hall of Famer, broadcasting Hall of Fame, whatever you call that. And he did it his way. Jimmy Johnson's why you get the whole term, fatigue will make cowards of us all. He did a speech on it talking about fatigue, and that's why when he first got to Dallas, the first thing he did, he got them guys in shape to let them know, look, man, either you're gonna get with my program or you won't be here. I didn't come here to lose. I didn't leave University of Miami to come up to Dallas, Fort Worth with the Dallas Cowboys, American team, and start losing. The one thing he could not factor in is the crazy man himself, Jerry Jones. You had that type of coach, and what have they had since then? A bunch of not much. And he's had Bill Parcells and different guys there. But congratulations to Jimmy Johnson. What, 30 years?
31 years.
31 years of broadcasting. To the golden boy for a player to broadcast, and I would say it's Michael Strahan. Michael Strahan, Hall of Famer. He went, Good Morning America, live with, Kelly and Michael. Now he still does, Jimmy Johnson walked away from football effortlessly and had a brilliant career. Because you know how it is, Smitty. 31 years, that's a lot of changes. That's a lot of different people around you. That's a lot of, the way they analyze the game, the way they break down the game, to go from no social media to social media, 81 years young. So congratulations to him. I hope he looks forward to doing absolutely nothing, because 81 years old, man. He look good for 81, man. To still keep going, but congratulations to him. A 3-time Hall of Famer, and did it in a classy way. And like I say, man, some of the best hair, if not the best hair in sports.
Yeah. 3 minor ones I wanted to get to really quick before we go on to the last 2 segments here. Titans are going to host Abdul Carter, Travis Hunter, Cam Ward, and Shedeur Sanders as the number 1 pick awaits. And I'll give you these 3 kind of all together. Vikings hiring Saints offensive assistant Jordan Traylor as their new assistant offensive coordinator and assistant quarterbacks coach, replacing Grant Udinski, who is now in Jacksonville with Lee and Cohen as the offensive coordinator down there. And then finally, Mike Vrabel, new head coach in New England, defines 2025 for the Patriots like this: one where the players believe in what we're doing.
Well, I mean, obviously the Titans are still they're gonna be like taking calls for that number 1 overall pick. I mean, Abdul Carter, if he goes number 1, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, if Travis Hunter go number 1, I just don't see how he helps a Titans team that has to fill a lot of holes. You're gonna bring Shedeur Sanders in and Cam Ward. You got to bring the top 2 quarterbacks in, and hopefully we'll see how those guys factor. I mean, I remember going on my visit to places like Tennessee. Nashville is a nice city. It's a city, but it's a country town as well. I think it's good for a young man to settle in as a pro in a city that loves their team, but you can still kind of be yourself. You're not going to get a lot of scrutiny. As far as we say, Mr. Traylor going from the Saints to Minnesota. I mean, hey, you can never have enough eyes. I mean, you got a young quarterback who got hurt, training camp or whatever, and then he get a chance. His rookie year is actually obviously going to be his second year because he didn't play last year. We'll see what happens. And when Mike Vrabel, when people say things like, dude, is that even a quote? Do players that believe? Players that believe. That's like the Titans. That's like the guy over the operations guy. With the Titans saying, "Yeah, I knew Jim that we bring in. We want him to be, a guy that understands, the scouting process. And, we want a guy that, as far as like, players we want to draft, we want to develop and we want to retain. That's what everybody does. They draft players, they develop the players, and they retain them. Anyway, New England is New England. I will believe that New England is going to be a contender when I see it. And the reason why I say it, Buffalo, who's going to beat them? Miami, who's going to beat them? The Jets don't have a quarterback, so they bottom feeders until they're not, and they're trying to get the band back together. What's the offensive coordinator for New England? He used to be the old offensive coordinator for New England, and he went to Denver and came back.
Josh McDaniels.
Let me tell you, listen, they didn't tell you that Josh McDaniels did. When Josh McDaniels, his first job was not Denver. His first job was going to be the Indianapolis coach. He took the job, got out the plane, went to the coach facility and told him you don't want to take the job to get back on the plane and go back to New England. Then he ended up in Denver. That's because if you remember, Josh McDaniels was the guy who drafted Tim Tebow first round.
That's right.
And then he leaves there, stinks up a joint. Now he's back. Certain guys don't get jobs no matter what. Josh McDaniels is an incredible offensive play caller. Let me just – but as far as like head coach, come on. But we want players that believe. How are we going to know that, Mike? How are we going to know that? Anyway, we'll see. That's why it's New England. Some of these statements, man. I would not want to work for New England media. I got to go in a press conference and say, we want guys that believe.
Okay. Okay. We'll move on. All right. Well, the last two segments here on episode 29 of Winning the Division, we thought we would bring you I'm going to read some questions brought to us by fans, and I'm also going to give Ben my top five. I have a top five for us tonight. Top five takeaways from the 2025 NFL Combine and kind of leading into the April NFL Draft. So I will give you we'll go with the questions first, and then we'll end on the top five. Ben, if you have a top five, I did not prepare you this beforehand. I'm an elite improviser. I will come up with my top five. All right, let's go with questions first. First question here involves the Tennessee Titans, your former team, Ben. Ben, what are the Titans going to do at pick number 1? Are they going to trade down, or are they going to keep the pick? And if so, who are they taking?
I think the Titans ultimately want to trade down because they got so many needs, and they know that number 1 pick means, hey man, we in business for 31 other teams. We can trade down and get some picks because they got to add a lot of depth. But if they do keep the pick, I think they go with Abdul Carter, and the reason why I say it is because I don't think they sold on Cam Ward or Shadur Sanders, and I think they're going to wait to try to get a quarterback in the free agency sweepstakes. I think they go Abdul Carter because we saw something that Harold Landry is getting shopped. You're going to need a guy that can come out. You can't go wrong with a guy that can rush the pass. I'm not 6'3", 250. He's going to be, outside linebacker, more defensive end. But I think number 1, they go with Abdul Carter if they do indeed stick with the number 1 overall pick.
Travis Hunter, is he going to play both ways in the NFL? And if so, what team will draft him, and which position will he start for them?
I think if he goes New England, I think they will try that because I think Mike Vrabel is a guy who doesn't have ego in him to try to hold him back. He's gonna now let me say this. When I say he's gonna play both sides, he's gonna be a cornerback, but they're gonna put a package in for him, at wide receiver, because I think he's gonna serve a team more if he can lock down one side of the field and let the other 10 guys kind of go and roam and do what they do. But I do think you put in a package for him. And when people keep saying, hey man, why did Travis Hunter follow Deion Sanders at Jackson State and Colorado? Because there are too many coaches in college football. 1 has dealt with that level of stardom as a player. 2 don't have an ego. And 3, they're not going to hold him back because another coach would have made him play like this. How we do at this school, whatever. Hey man, you're the best player in the country. We're going to put you on offense. We're going to put you on defense. As long as you can do it, we're going to do it. So, but I do think a team like New England could do that because they need a spark. They need a spark. They need a Red Bull. They need a lot. Travis Hunter would do that.
All right, a couple more regarding the draft eligible players, and then some that were submitted were very team specific for the upcoming year. Couple more for the draft. Ben, what tight end is going to have the best career in the NFL from this draft class?
Wow. Man. It's hard to say that. And the reason why I say it is this. It depends on where they go. Because we were talking about the Taylor kid, out of LSU. Listen, for my money, I hope it's Harold Fannin Jr., right, out of Bowling Green. I'm gonna tell you why. He's one of the smaller guys, and I think what helped a Harold Fanning is Brock Bowers is probably like 240. He's not the biggest tight end you ever seen, and because I think he's a guy that's coming in with a skill set, So I hope it is like a Harold Fanning Jr. I think he's a guy that definitely got a shot to go out there and make some noise. But man, listen, ask me after their rookie year. I'm gonna tell you why, because I can see regardless of what they do. I look at what a team is gonna do with a player, not so this time next year after we talking about the rookie class, I'm gonna say this is the guy I think got a shot to be good for years to come.
All right. The last one from the draft eligible players here. Give us one offensive player and one defensive player outside of the top names that you think is going to be very underrated in this upcoming draft.
Ooh, man. You know what? Because of what his teammate did, McClunky, Arian Smith out of Georgia, right? Wide receiver, right? McClunky, what he did for the Chargers ended up being their number one. I think Arian Smith, because if you are at Georgia right now, their offense, it sputtered. But he ran a 4.36. I think he got a shot to be a really, really good, I think he can play on the outside. I did not know McConkey was going to look that good.
Yeah, I don't think anyone did. Yeah,
as far as like what he did as a rookie. As far as defensive players, I try not to go with the usual suspects. But coming out of this combine, I'm trying to get somebody who's not an obvious. You know what? I am gonna give you an obvious one. I thought you were gonna talk about him. He's obvious, but you know who I think is gonna be nasty? Shamar Stewart. I think out of Texas A&M.
Talk about him.
He 4.59. Obviously, it's all about James Pierce. What he was able to run with the 4.47. But I look at they was comparing Shamar Stewart. His comp is Myles Garrett. That's his comp. Size, speed.
He went to Texas A&M?
Yeah, but they about the same size, arm length. I think Shamar Stewart is going to be a guy that's going to make, because I like guys that were super duper productive in college in a big time conference, going up against really, really elite offensive tackles, real similar to what they're going to see in the league. So for me, I think Shamar Stewart is going to be really, really good. It's the thing about this draft though, Smitty. You got so many players to choose from. Like, if you didn't know who Ashton Jeanty was, you would say, "Who is that?" Because
I didn't even ask about Ashton Jeanty. He's got Dallas Cowboy written all over him. I did not even ask him about that. He's got Dallas Cowboy all over him.
But here's the thing: are they going? But will they Ezekiel Elliott him? You run him so much during his rookie campaign that by the time it's time for him to get money, he'll get his money. But he might be nothing left in the tank. We'll see.
Yeah. The breaking news that just hit down: Vikings are unlikely to tag Sam Darnold by tomorrow's deadline.
Yeah. Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold made himself a lot of money. I just don't think it's going to be with the Minnesota Vikings. There are a lot of teams. I know he don't want to do this, but would he consider going back to the Jets? Because they need a quarterback right now.
Does that mean he's going to see Ghost again?
No, here's the thought. Listen. I think he'll look nice in that two-tone blue up there with the Titans. They need a quarterback. Will Levis who? Mason Rudolph who? Come on, man. Stop that. Stop it.
All right, top 5. Here we go. My top 5 takeaways from the 2025 NFL Combine as we are about a month and a half away from the draft. Number 5, not involving a player. The NFL Combine isn't leaving Indianapolis anytime soon, folks. This is just an ideal place for the Combine to happen, to host. Everything is within walking distance right there. The hotels, the convention center, even the hospitals, all right there together. Indianapolis is such an underrated city for the Combine to host in, and it's a perfect place for something like the Combine. And you're just not going to see it leave there anytime soon. That's number 5 on this list. Number 4, Deebo Samuel, with the trade that went down earlier in the week that sent him to the Washington Commanders. I think this is going to make the Commanders the second best team in the NFC behind the Philadelphia Eagles. Because right now, Deebo, I think you're going to get a motivated Deebo Samuel. I think you're right, man. His best years are behind him. However, you're going to get a very motivated Deebo Samuel this coming up year with the Washington Commanders, with Jaden Daniels, with Terry McLaurin, with Brian Robinson and company. And Zach Ertz is coming back for another year. This Commanders offense could be scary with this new look offense wrinkle with Deebo Samuel. Number 3 on this list, the Titans. They're not going to be making the first overall pick because I think they will be trading down, Ben. That is ultimately what I think is going to happen. Now, do I know who is going to get there? No, I don't. I think it could be the Jets. It could be the Giants. A guy like named Harold Landry might be on the move soon as well. We didn't talk about him tonight a lot. I've heard the Giants could be in play, maybe the Jets. We'll see what happens there. But the Titans, I think, will be going down to pick somewhere not named number 1, and they will select somebody else in the top 3 or 4 picks. Number 2 on this list, Shedeur Sanders will fall out of the top 5, if not maybe the top 7 picks. I think he is sliding down draft boards, not because I hate him, not because I love him. It's just what I'm hearing. Facts, what I'm hearing. Now watch me be wrong and Shedeur gets drafted in the top 3, but I think his ceiling is probably 6 to the Raiders. His floor is probably, I don't know, 15, 20, something like that. I think he'll be gone before then, but just from my best guesstimates, the ceiling is probably 6 to the Las Vegas Raiders if they do not get a quarterback in free agency. Finally, number 1 on this list, my top 5 takeaways from the 2025 Combine. This might be obvious to a lot of people, but I think with San Francisco and Brock Purdy, you mentioned the deal getting done, potentially getting done, worked on, not done, obviously getting worked on. I still think the Rams and Matthew Stafford staying in LA, it's the Rams division to lose. I mean, at this point, Matthew Stafford is coming back for business once again. He was the closest to taking down the Philadelphia Eagles after that sideline catch there, right in the snow globe there in Philadelphia. They could have taken down the Eagles very much. I thought there was a chance there at the end they could have done it, and they were the closest in the playoffs to beating this Philadelphia Eagle team. And so with Matthew Stafford staying put, number 1 on this list, the NFC West will run through the Rams once again in 2025. So that is my list, Mr. Troupe. You take away. The floor is yours.
Love your top 5. I will go from 5 to 1 as well. My number 5 was, listen, everybody came in talking about the D-line rifle. So everybody came in talking about how fast these receivers, and DBs and running backs gonna run rifle. So coming out of this thing, the O-line, they stole the show. The O-line was out there doing it because we make so much about these other positions. Hey, listen, if you got elite O-line play, you got a shot to be really, really good. I was very, very impressed with the O-line top to bottom. Number 4, listen, great participation top to bottom from all the positions because no Travis Hunter, no problem. No Cam Ward, no problem. No Shedeur Sanders, no problem. No Ashton. So really, the top players at these positions didn't even work out. It didn't even matter because I think as a whole, they said collectively, we're gonna go out there and make it happen. My, slash Deebo Samuel's actually going to the Washington Commanders. That's my slash number 4. Number 3, Rich Eisen and Daniel Jeremiah. They are a beautiful couple. I mean, that's for like TV because the thing about it is, Smitty. You got the. I don't know if they practiced what they were gonna do, but it's like, dude, it was making jokes.
They've done it for a while. They know each other quite well.
Yeah, it was beautiful. It was beautiful to watch. I rather enjoyed it. Number 2, the fans. I like how the fans are celebrating with the players, guys running, getting them 4-2s and 4-3s. Obviously, a bunch of Ohio State Buckeyes in the house, by the way. They was out there showing they love. But the fact that the fans were in the house, I'm pretty sure the tickets were free. I hope you didn't charge those people to come in there. I hope you let them come in. But number 1, which ain't nobody saying, the 2025 NFL Combine is still must-see TV. Like you think, hey man, do I really want to see this? Yeah. Like you turn on the tube and it's like You still want to see, because look, they don't show, I like how they don't really show us. They show the 40s. They'll show like their own. And if somebody jumps a high vertical, they'll show it. But the NFL Combine shows you why the NFL is still the best sport and the biggest brand in America, because we are watching the future run around, in boxer briefs and Under Armour shirts, which is fine. Ain't nobody mad at that, but it's still, because Smitty, I mean, we still go, dude, did you see that? Dude, did you see that? Did you see what this kid, did you see? So, like I said, I just think it being must-see TV, one, the fans being incredible, two, Rich Eisen, Danny Jeremiah, three, great participation from all the athletes, / Debo Samuels, and the O-line, number 5, looking elite. They didn't steal the show, but they said they had to say, hey, we here too. I know y'all want to make it about everybody other than us. Well, ask Kansas City, who was definitely watching the O-line the entire time. If you can't protect your quarterback, you can't win. Shout out to the 225 NFL Combine. It lived up to the bill.
Yep, and continue to send us your questions here on winning the division, any topics, conversations you want us to talk about as we are 29 episodes down. And as I said at the top, remember to find us on the Keep Pounding Podcast Network, Fans First Network, Tobacco Sports Radio on youtube.com/Tobacco Road Sports Radio. And remember, as we say here at Winning the Division, you are either winning the division or you are just in the division. As my Falcons, or his Falcons.
Listen, you want to come on over, Sweetie? Come on over.
We're both hoping to be winning this division in 2025. The NFC South is so bad. And we both think our teams have a legit shot at it. He can't contain his excitement as I
Smitty was like,
all over that. As I fumbled over that. Anyway, that'll do it for Ben. I am Ryan here on Winning the Division, episode number 29. Rate, review, and subscribe. We will see you guys next time.